Hey guys, going on back again with another video. As you guys know, November 5th is 115 Day. It's one of the days that we celebrate Call of Duty Zombies, Treyarch Zombies, and I think Treyarch made it into the story that it's Samantha Max's birthday is November 5th. Um, and a month from now, we're going to have January 15th, which is another 115 Day. It's more the fan celebrated date because the game would have been out a few months. From November, because the games usually come out somewhat maybe in October some years, in November other years, and I think if we celebrate it on November 5th, which is the real day, it's not going to be enough time for the game to be out. Most people are going to be grinding the Easter eggs and stuff like that, playing the game, the new, even if it's multiplayer. So the game would have been fresh. So we most of the time pretty much now celebrate it on January 15th, which is again like the fan celebrated date. So with that being said, as you guys know, back in 2015, Jason Blundell made a video talking about an impossible Easter egg in Shadows of Evil and Black Ops 3, stuff that I've mentioned and pretty much picked apart so many different ways, solved so many different Easter eggs. So again, I always want to thank him and the devs for doing stuff like that, because it kind of opened the door, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It opened the door, kind of, you see how video games are made, because as Jason Blundell and some of the other devs have mentioned, the impossible Easter egg wasn't necessarily something about the game or the story. It was just something different that you had to kind of figure out how to solve it. Um, some of it doing almost like breaking the fourth wall, where some of it had to do with real life stuff, some of it had to do with stuff in the game, which I think was really cool. And I'm not necessarily going to talk too much about the impossible Easter egg. I think at this point, pretty much everyone knows what it is. Again, it was back from 2015. So with that being said, this is going to be about Shadows of Evil. Again, one of the many, many, many impossible Easter eggs. And I tell people I love doing this stuff because once you think you solved something, or you solved everything, you're always going to find something new. Maybe even if it's a coincidence or not. It is pretty cool finding these Easter eggs and maybe seeing how Call of Duty and Treyarch and the devs figure out or kind of compose the game all together. Again, this is something amazing. Most people don't know about it. I don't think anybody's ever mentioned it, but I think it kind of does tie into it. Or it could be another coincidence, or maybe just some weird coincidence, again, like I said. Again, if you're not familiar with it, Shadows of Evil was based in a fictitious town called Morgue City, which was loosely based off of Chicago in the United States, Chicago, Illinois. And again, it's loosely based off of Chicago. Some other things like Atlantis, some of the structures are like Atlantis, based off some other stuff in pop culture, which I'm not going to go over because I think I might have talked about all that stuff already. If not, I might have it planned in the future, so I don't want to stretch it out too long. Again, with all that being said, it's all going to be more about Chicago. So this happened to be like a weird coincidence, or just maybe a clever way of how they figure it out. How to make the maps, or how they plan on making the maps. Again, it could be like just an Easter egg that they put in there. So, as you guys know, Morgue City is based off of the work from H.P. Lovecraft, and there happened to be a band that was based out of Chicago. So I guess maybe one of the devs, Jason Liddell, maybe one of the devs at Treyarch or Call of Duty, were big fans of um, Lovecraft, and maybe, or the band Lovecraft, because they were formed in Chicago. So I'm just going to read parts of it. Again, I'm not going to read everything, go into too many theories and stuff like that. I just like showing people the Easter egg solve, and then if there's any other people out there that see anything else or can come up with any other types of theories, it's great for them. But I'm just going to kind of read what it says. This is obviously from Wikipedia. And it says H.P. Lovecraft was an American psychedelic rock band formed in Chicago, Illinois in 1967 and named after the horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. Much of the band's music was possessed of a haunting, eerie ambiance and consisted of material that was inspired by the macabre writings of the author whose name they adopted, combining elements of the psychedelic and folk rock. The band's sound was marked by the striking vocal harmonies of ex-folk singer George Edwards. That was the only thing that I thought maybe could be another Easter egg. His last name was Edwards. We have Edward Richtofen. That could be something of a weird coincidence. But it was pretty funny. And classically trained Dave Michaels. The other names don't really fit into anything unless somebody can see something that I missed or can't connect. I'm not going to go too much over that. The band was signed to Philips Records. I don't think we have anything to do with Philips Records in Call of Duty. Zombies. The first single was Anyway You Want Me. I don't know if that was maybe that's a song that was in one of the Zombies games down the years or throughout the years. But that's one of their songs. There were some funny coincidence or Easter eggs with the songs. So you're gonna see in a little bit. And the best known song is The White Ship. Again, I don't know if there's anything there. The band then relocated from Chicago to, of course, San Francisco, where Alcatraz is in California. So that might have been what they were planning or how they planned it. Maybe it was a crazy Easter egg that no one figured out until literally 2022 right now. Unless somebody else figured it out years ago and I missed it. I do watch a lot of videos. I don't watch every single video, I don't think. Unfortunately, like I tell people, I'm at fault also. I tend to watch a lot of the big channels who report on stuff. They don't necessarily solve it, but they report on stuff. I didn't see anybody report on this band that was formed in Chicago and then relocated to pretty much Alcatraz in San Francisco, Bay Area. And they played in venues, the Fillmore and the Winterland Ballroom. And they had a second album called H.P. Lovecraft 2 in 1969. There was something about the moon. There's a song. I think Edwards and a couple people formed another band throughout the years just called Lovecraft. Their first or second hit was Valley of the Moon, which I think is great. That's a cool little Easter egg. They changed the name just to Lovecraft. And We Love You Whoever You Are was another album it's saying. Again, this is going to be a lot, so I'm not going to try to read everything together. I think that pretty much sums up the bulk of it. I mean, if that's not convincing, they were formed in Chicago. They went to pretty much Alcatraz. One of the band's last name was Edwards, which I thought was a cool Easter egg. They did a song about the moon. Again, I tell people I don't try and stretch it out too much anymore because then it starts looking like I'm desperately trying to piece every single word, thinking like, oh, that's an Easter egg or that's an Easter egg. But again, I also tell people to come read it on yourself. Maybe you'll pick up on other stuff that I missed. Shadows of Night. I don't know if that was something about one of the bands. Again, I'm not going to look at too much stuff and try and say, like, hey, this is something and that's something and here's something else. Unless for some reason I am being lazy and skim over it. After the breakup of H.P. Lovecraft, a spin-off band. See that? Yeah, that was formed 2 years later. Again, nothing crazy. Again, that Valley of the Moon is there again. Valley of the Moon is pretty. That would be the cool name for a zombies map too. As a matter of fact, Valley of the Moon. Space Traveler, a musician's Odyssey. And that's pretty much it. It talks about, the band members and stuff like that. These are the members here at the bottom. And literary references to the band. Science fiction writer Harry Turtledove makes frequent references to the band. And the Fillmore Shoggoth. And Oh, that's a pretty cool thing. That would be really cool, like, you know, maybe a good like zombies map is where a monster attacks the theater they were performing. Obviously that would be something like the theater. I forget from Black Ops One. Kino would be amazing. Um, but again, I don't know. Sometimes they don't want to repeat the same thing over and over again. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Pretty cool Easter egg solve. I'll see you guys next time.